Hey there, cool cats and kittens. My name is not Carol, but I'm giving you all kinds of her wardrobe teas. We need to talk about Tiger King. Listen. Yeah! Yes, God! Get that out of there! Hey, what's up? It's your boy Matty Rants. Thanks so much for tuning in to the channel. Do me a favor, smash that like button, hit that share button, don't forget the comment section down below. Also, here are my social media links, and if you want to donate to the channel as well, Cash App and PayPal is available. Now, I need to talk about this new show on Netflix called The Tiger King, or Tiger King, however they want to go ahead and put it. Those of you who are aware of the crazy situation I had to deal with this past day, I now am in a safe location. I'm currently at another hotel. Unfortunately, it is really close to the freeway, so if you hear cars driving by, people did not stay at home for quarantine. Yeah. But that's not what this is about today. We need to get into this craziness that is Joe Exotic and the rest of the Scooby gang of horrible people. Now, I am not doing a full review on this show because it is 7 episodes of 45 minutes or longer proportions of foolishness and effery. I'm trying to be good with this video. Like, on the scale of 0 to on the redneck meter, this show is crazy. And mind you, not all rednecks are crazy. Shout out to my good rednecks, folks. We're not even going to give you that label. But the things I saw in this show, man, just the complete ignorance, stupidity, the manipulation, the actual brilliance of some of these people's schemes and plans to get over on things. The way some people gave you the itches just from staring at them, it's a lot. The show was crazy. I highly recommend watching it if you have time. Please get past the first episode. I know that's where a lot of people have stopped who didn't really get fully invested into Tiger King. My suggestion is get through 1 and 2. Once you get to 3, when we get into Carol's mess, oh bitch, that's when you really need to go there. I'm not lying. But to summarize Tiger King, this docuseries, it follows Joe Exotic, this crazy man who loves tigers and likes to, I guess, have exotic animals as pets and has made a profit from this happening. But his story has a lot going on in it. The likes of Carol Baskins, who also apparently is the giver of all life and animals and tigers. God, that lady is crazy. Then there's Doc Antle, like... There's a list of characters throughout this show. Jeff Lowe is like one of the most horrible people you'll ever meet in life. And James Garrettson is just gross. But no, this is about Joe Exotic and the people, I guess, who surround him in this crazy journey of his demise, if you really want to go there, or at least the end of his reign as the Tiger King. What word would you use for him? I think he was just popular because he looked crazy and had a mullet and looked like he was a walking staph infection. I don't know, but people liked him, and he actually had a lot of fans. Well, I didn't know who the hell this man was, and I certainly wasn't listening to any of his music. But apparently, he did a lot of illegal things. Actually, most of them on the show were doing illegal things, which was really crazy to me. Why a lot of these people haven't been fully arrested just yet. But he ends up getting into trouble for trying to, I guess, put a hit out on Carol. And he gets caught up with some of his friends or people who I guess he trusted that he worked with backstabbing him. And Joe ends up in prison and everybody else is kind of walking around scot-free, which is insane. That's not even a full summary of the show. Like, do you see where I'm going with this? There's so many things that happen, so many side stories, so many people who were messed over in this process because a lot of the people that were involved in, I guess, Joe's GW Zoo or whatever the hell he wanted to call it. Every time he said GW child, I thought of the bush. You know, there was people who needed a place to work and didn't, or who were on their last leg of life or just didn't know what to do. And, you know, desperate people will do everything they can to stay afloat. And so I feel like he took advantage of a lot of people's desperations at that park. And the fact that he was feeding people expired meat, I mean, oh my God, I just want to talk about everybody on the show, but I'm only going to keep it to certain folks. With Joe Exotic, I'm going to get into Carol Baskins' crazy ass. Doc Antle, I have a few words for you. Jeff Lowe, you're trash, but I'm going to talk about you as well. James Garrett said, you're like the starting of the worst because that all happened because of you, but I'm not going to go there. Carol Baskins' husband, her second husband, I call Carol's bitch because her first husband, we're still trying to figure out where the hell he is. Again, this is crazy show. Let's do this. Joe Exotic's weird. Joe is this guy who I guess, I don't know, with his life or whatever was happening with him, Joe was just trying to, be a star. And Joe is finding different ways to do that. And his obsession with big cats has kind of taken him a little bit. And so, he is bragging about all the things he's doing for these animals and how much he's taking care of them. But in actuality, he's not really doing anything like that. This is all not okay. You're having these baby tigers that he's breeding, by the way, and just putting them in front of people, taking them away from the mothers. It's like, what is happening here? And then when he would have the little tiger cubs up, and they're so adorable, and he would put them to people's faces. I just was grossed out by the entire experience of Joe Exotic, but I was also enamored by his spirit and his drive to just be this guy on top. And the fact that there were so many people just trying to take down Joe, it was crazy. Joe also had 2 husbands who were 2 straight men. One more time, 2 husbands who were 2 straight men, but those 2 people were in desperate situations, and they found someone like Joe who was very interesting to them and promised them a lot. And so you're going to take the gold. Some people grab the coin before they look at the bucket. John Finley was a sweetheart, but he was straight and he didn't love Joe fully like that. I mean, I think he loved Joe to a certain extent. John also had teeth, and you know exactly what I'm talking about when I say that there are missing spaces that were happening there. He says that the meth wasn't the cause of it, or fully the cause of it. That was in an article later when he got his teeth fixed. And I know he looked really great with his new teeth. But I know that meth had something to do with it. You can see through photos as the show is progressing, as footage is going on, that certain teeth were falling out. Then there's Travis. Travis was a tall drink of water. What was it? 6'6", size 16 feet, big hands, all of that. And was a decent looker too. Now Travis, I was like, oh my God, Joe hit the jackpot. And I thought at first he was gonna be gay, but then it was like, no, he's straight. And then what really threw me off with Travis was if you see him, he's on the couch with this tiger cub, and Joe's there just looking at him like, I got you on something. Travis is clearly drugged out in this. Drugged out. That wasn't a high, from, some Mary Jane. No. That was a whole nother kind of mother. And you could tell he was very just, the way his face was moving, oh girl, ungross. It was just gross. Joe married them both. John ends up sleeping with the secretary or the front desk receptionist child, gets her pregnant and runs off. But poor Travis couldn't do it anymore. And I believe, I'm not sure if this was episode 5 or 6 when this happened, but Travis killed himself on camera. You don't see him kill himself with the whole, that would just be too much. But you see Joe's campaign manager's face, just lose it over the situation. Like, I can't believe, is this real? Is he playing? Because the guy apparently was a jokester. It was that kind of, relationship. But back to Joe. Joe had every job in the world. He was a magician. He, was a music art. He made music. I wouldn't say he was a music artist. He had the equipment to make said music. Except for Here Kitty Kitty, because that was brilliant. Here Kitty Kitty. He made a whole video of Carol feeding her husband. God bless. That video was all over the internet now. I cannot. If Joe is still alive in jail with them horrible bangs from that mullet, let me tell you something, sir. When you do come out, if you do, because I don't know what you're doing in prison, but if you do come out, please go back to the music. Just get a better green screen production and make sure you don't have Michael Jackson's alligators or crocodiles, whatever was it, alligators or crocodiles, in the room when someone sets a fire to the blaze. Matter of fact, quick run through here. So Joe was involved in this really hateful scheme with Carol Baskin. Like he hated Carol because Carol tried everything that she could to get rid of Joe, because Carol's mission in life was to make anybody who had anything to do with whatever she was doing unhappy. Like, for real, Carol, ooh, I hated Carol. We're not even talking about her yet. We're still on Joe. So Joe, with all his anger, used his music to get back at Carol. He also used his green screen, his little YouTube show or whatever channel he was on with his hillbilly bucket-looking self, basically telling people, F Carol and whatever she's doing. And you know, when I see that bitch, what I'm about to do, he put some stuff, I forget what it's called. Hit me up in the comment section with what it is. It's the things that people use to make, it's like these little rocks that you can activate, or these pebbles you can buy at Walmart, unfortunately, in other places. You shake them suckers up, and if you shoot at them, the reaction from, I guess, the bullet hidden with, all of it, blows it up. You know, he had many videos of him shooting in fake Carols. It was so insane. Like, that alone is crazy, but, apparently they couldn't get him for all of that stuff. They just used it in court against him later. But there was a hit that was put out on Carol by, say, Joe, but it never kind of went through. And then Joe ended up meeting people like Jeff, who was disgusting, who kind of had to help bail him out because Joe and Carol got in this huge lawsuit deal where Carol, because of all the millions that she got from her late husband who mysteriously vanished, child, mysteriously bankrupted, pretty much took all of Joe's money. Joe ended up having to go to his parents to help him out, and she sued his parents. What an evil woman to sue his elderly parents out of everything that they had. Like, she is not a remorseful person at all, not a kind heart at all. I'm sorry, y'all, please. You can't convince me. There's nothing you can do to help me convince me. If she rode her bike with flowers in her hair, I don't care. She's an evil woman. And what she did to those people, listen. No one needs to ever do that. She involved his family, and that was so wrong. And what she did to the late husband's family with his estate, out of line. Out of line, Carol, out of line. Not even on Carol yet. We're still on Joe Exotic. Anywho, situation got him to be in this place where he needed help. He asked for the person's help. Y'all saw what happened when Jeff jumped in. He basically snuck under there and took the whole park from him, hired people that ended up firing, the man, what was his name? Alan Glover. Lord, don't come over here trying to shoot me, sir, unless they give you $3,000 so you can go to a strip club and just chill the fuck out. I'm just saying, because Alan was kind of talked to crazy by Joe, very much so I could understand Alan's anger, but then he was involved in wanting to do the hit as well, and he didn't do it, but he did accept the money, so why isn't Alan in jail? And why isn't Jeff there? Because Jeff was the one that was sort of supplying him the information from Joe in reference from doing this. So you're telling me that these people work together and Joe's the only one that we're going to put in jail? Like, come on now. You have proof and evidence. It's all there. That doesn't make any sense. It's like they made the Netflix documentary to say, well, they got away with it, you guys, and we're never going to bring this back up again. Like, bullshit. But all of that took place. They got Joe after he tried to, escape from the park and sell his animals, and he was just selling all his tigers. It's just craziness, right? Look how, now I'm on the story part of this. I'm still on Joe, but this is kind of leading up into the rest of that I want to talk about him. Gets caught when he goes to his, excuse me, Joe, honey, I forgot to say this. Joe, after Travis dies, bitch, and then there's this whole memorial service and all this mess, and every time I come out here and I smoke a cigarette and I look up in the sky and I take pictures of it and all that type of mess, all that bullshit. He marries this other man 2 weeks later, invites Travis's mother to the wedding, which there was nobody else there but Travis's, I think, sister and mother, takes the picture to show that she looks cool with that stuff for social media, never spoke to her again. Gag, goop, giggery. That right there is called the stunt. Travis's mother, I send my love to you, baby, because I know that was some BS. Girl. Not including all the people that work for Joe, who he kind of messed over. The one girl whose arm got torn off, child. Ooh, Lord Jesus. Then you got Rinky. Shout out to Rinky. I actually liked hearing him talk about a lot of stuff that was going on with the park. It is also telling that these people snitched on him when they had to go to court, but they were going to be taken down too because the feds were trying to get them as well in reference for the situation. I'm telling you, the show is insane. For other people as well, there were also other people on the show who I had actually liked and felt really bad for, but the list is too long for me to name because so many people were screwed over in this project. By the way, there's no earthquake effect in this video. I'm just filming this on kind of a rocky plane, so if it's shaking, please forgive me. But Joe Exotic ends up getting 22 years in prison over his mistreatment of animals, as well as them bringing him there over trying to do the hit out on Carol, and then just get all the testimonies against him. It just was really, 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 really bad. So out of all of it, Joe was just screwed over. All the people who had some sort of dealings in what was happening too have just walked away from this, and I don't think that's fair. And I think Carol personally needs to be investigated because something's not right, like at all. And you can show me every video in the world of them holding all those tigers and them telling me this is for the education of people with wild animals. Well, if they're in cages and they're on your property in your backyard, somewhere where that's not their natural environment, that is not educating anybody on anything. That's promoting ignorance on these animals. They're not even in the right habitat or conditions of living, okay? Listen, they need to not be in your backyard. They need to be out in the wild where they can live and actually breathe as wild animals and not fulfill whatever small desires lay between your pants. And for Miss Tiger Print, whatever missing piece is in her brain. Oh, Joe Exotic, you're still entertaining. I gotta say, sir, I did feel bad for you in certain cases, and other times I didn't, especially when I saw you selling those tigers and just bringing those cubs out, and the way you're like, bring them over here, just how you're talking to animals. And that moment when you had your foot bitten by the tiger or the liger, or that's another thing too. All them ligers, he was breeding them. Get out of here. Like, I want these animals to be in sanctuaries that are actual sanctuaries for the ones who can't live in the wild because they may be blind, or there could be some sort of deficiency or defect with the animal, or there was a situation where they were hurt, or they were possibly in, say, someone like Joe Exotic's backyard, or Carol's backyard, or Doc Ansel's backyard, any of the other people who have them. There's more tigers in people's backyards than there are in the wild. That's insane. Insane. Before I get into Carol Baskins, I like to talk a little bit about Jeff Lowe. Jeff basically is a con man who has a bit of coin and is able to push it around enough in order to get where he needs to go. This is all based off of the show. Story about Jeff with his first wife and then the new wife that he has and the kids, and then he wants to bring in women, and I get to pick the nanny. Like, it's this, I'm trying to show what kind of man I am position that's weird. And I find when men do that, it's kind of sad. What he did to Joe was crap. You can definitely tell he wasn't really here for Joe and his bullshit. And I felt a lot of these people were homophobic and just using Joe's money or his, I guess, what he had for his resources in order to take advantage of him. And that leads me into James Garretson, who is like the walking embodiment of just of a garbage dump. What is that Pokemon's name? There's this one Pokemon who's like this trash heap that he reminds me of, and every time I see him, I just immediately go to that picture. That's him. He got himself involved in this. He was kind of cool with Joe, but then he became really cool with Jeff, and then they were working against Joe to get Joe put in jail. James didn't really push himself into this position until the feds came to him first and were trying to get him on his own shit, and then he got Jeff involved in it. That's how Joe got caught. James, I don't have too much for you other than that whole shot of you on that Sea-Doo child or whatever, that wave runner. That was horrible. Speaking of which, Netflix, I gotta give it to you. The director of this documentary had some of the best slow-mo shots of people and music build-ups, all those moments. It was brilliant. Brilliance from the director of this documentary. It was good stuff to watch. Doc, you're gross. First of all, he is the worst of all control freaks I've ever seen in my entire existence. Like, y'all, get into Doc Antle. He was directing them the moment they got to his house. Then the way he treats women, I mean, I don't have to, what do you want me to say? Do I need to go there? And then he changes their names to very ethnic names. It's like, what is happening here? For instance, if he's referring to a Bengal tiger, you know, there are a lot in India and there are in other places too, but he'll give it some sort of ethnic name. so gross. I'm like, please stop this madness. I can't take this anymore. This is too much for me. But we're not done. No, people, we're not done in this situation, scenario, and moment, because Doc also, everything is with so much pride with him in the way he seems to be so untouchable. That's what was like really weird for me. Then there's a crematorium on his property. Are we not going to discuss this? There was rumors that he was basically like killing the cats early or something like that. I believe that was the rumor, where all the tiger cubs that he had once he was done with them, so that way they wouldn't reach a certain adulthood or whatever. I don't know if this was Doc or if this was Joe. I feel like it was both of them in certain regards, or I think Joe was selling them and that Doc was just burning them up. This is all allegedly, by the way. Like, why is the crematorium there? It's just weird. Oh, and can I also mention this one thing that kind of disturbed me a little bit? Doc said it takes $10,000 minimum per tiger. Joe says $3,000 per tiger. Joe has 227 of them on the property. Let's do the math. This is a month. 10,000 a month. 3,000 a month. 227. 3,000 a month. All right. The expired meat alone coming off the truck when he was feeding his people was enough for me to just vomit. But then to know that he was getting roadkill and all the animal, oh, what the hell is happening here? So Carol is an interesting one, because Carol basically smiles in your face and stabs your back. Carol is the scariest woman I've ever seen on television, and I'll tell you why. Carol is staring at everyone. It barely blinks. She smiles too, and it's not a genuine one every single moment. I hope y'all are catching this. I'm not bullshitting you on this moment either. I really need y'all to pay attention to certain moments in the show. This one in particular, with her and Howard Baskin. Howard's a bitch. Let's just go ahead and call it what it is. Howard's a bitch. Like, no, Howard, allegedly you're a bitch. There's footage of you in tiger garments, on your knees, with Carol having you in chains for your wedding. A submissive man is not a bad thing, brother. Something ain't right with you too. Something's not right with you as well. You seem like a kind and gentle soul. I don't know if you just saw her through the Big Cat Rescue Program or whatever the hell this woman thinks that she's doing, but no. Carol had a previous husband with a lot of money. Carol's husband disappeared because she said that he went to go find some plane from some people, even though his pilot's license was, taken from him after he first got it. And they were flying over I don't know what ocean it was. Help me out here in the comment section, people. And they pushed him out and he died in the ocean. And that's her excuse for why they can't find his body. Carol then had the will change. Let's not argue the facts, because we already had the estate holder. Is that what we call her? Ooh, Lord, child, my head hurts and this has been a long day, but let's continue here because this show has a lot going on. So please forgive me if I don't have this lady's name correctly. So basically, she explains that there was a will already in there, but all of those things were taken out. And then there was a new will made with Carol being the person that drew the will up for her. Honey, I mean, in writing, by death or disappearance. Please comment section below if anybody is familiar with this as a lawyer who has handled wills in this sort of case. Is that normal? Because the man who was talking on behalf of the husband who went missing, he was doing a little too much for me. I didn't know if he had wacky tobacco up in here and it was a little bit of that huffing stuff to help him go through what he was going through. But he was giving me a little too much. Back to Carol and her passive aggressiveness. I swear to you, Carol is scary. I don't, that lady worries me. I don't want her suing me for no reason. What do they do? This is just an opinion, Carol. I promise you. You're probably a lovely person in your own brain. Carol inherited this money, screwed over the late husband's family. Screwed them over. 10% is what they got. Woo. The numbers were varying differently between people, but they believed it was between 17 to $27 million the man was worth. Carol is just as bad as Joe Exotic and Doc Antle in their antics with this pet for pay. pet for pay. That sounds so gross. So they're charging so much money to these people to come here and basically just, pet wild animals and watch these people have a, pissing contest. Carol's like, oh, I don't do all those things. You can't pet my animals. You can see them and you can give money to my preservation and sanctuary with, mini cats, to which Joe was like, girl, you got 12 of them, sister. Like, don't play that. Carol has volunteers working there for 12-hour days, 6 days a week with no pay. And they sort of bump themselves up in the loyal program, I guess, based on how long they can last. Ew. There's so much more to Carol that we can just talk about, honestly, with everybody on this show. We could really layer this out. And I know this was all over the place, everybody, but so is this documentary. To everybody who lost their jobs through the GW Zoo and just everywhere, those who are loyal to Joe, I do feel bad for. I also have some sort of weird sympathy for Joe himself, because Joe doesn't seem like he's that bad of a guy. Like, I don't think that he just is an evil person. I just think that his morals are in the wrong compass, because what he was doing with those tigers was wrong. What Carol was doing with them is wrong, with all the wildlife and the animals just around them. Doc animal, nothing, no. They need to be in a sanctuary where they're just living by themselves. They just need to be in a sanctuary, not where you make a profit from them for your own pleasure. No. Oh, real quick, can we get back to Jeff Lowe for a second here? You're telling me you're putting cubs in suitcases and rolling them around in Vegas? You have a party bus with wild animals on them with people? You know what kind of people were going to those things, right? I'm gonna leave it at that. I'm gonna leave it at that. Lord, Shaquille O'Neal was on there, honey. I couldn't believe it. I was in elementary school. We got to go to an actual wildlife zoo, like GW Zoo, in Texas. It really wasn't in Houston. It was one of those Tomball areas. If you know where Tomball is, look it up on a map. They still have Ku Klux Klan rallies. Tom, look it up on a map. Or some other outside city, maybe Magnolia, very far up north. Anywho, we went to this park, and I think I have a picture. I don't know where it is. I'm gonna have to ask my dad to send it to me. But there's a picture of the tiger in the cage coming up to me and pawing at my foot as I'm like by the gate or whatever. And as a kid, I can tell you the immense strength that you can feel from a tiger, its presence alone is very intimidating. And while I love tigers, I'm a fan of cats and all that good stuff. As an adult, I see what that man was doing was wrong, because a lot of the tigers that he had there, they weren't there just for giggles. They were there because he bred them and he was actually selling them, and he had a lot of wildlife that was there that he was breeding himself and was selling. We didn't know that. I think that place has been shut down since then. But, yeah, not okay. Anywho, they're all gross in a certain sense. I don't know if Carol killed her husband. They say people are accusing her of killing her husband. I'm not going to say that. I think a lot of us have opinions on what happened in that situation. Everyone, downstairs below in the comment section, whatever I forgot to talk about, please, let's have a discussion. Not, Maddie, you forgot to say this. I didn't forget it. This is a lot with this show, and I was not going to do a full review. That would be like an hour and a half of just a long conversation. But whatever I forgot to talk about in this mess, because I know I forgot to talk about a lot of stuff that happened on the show, and there was just so many things taking place. Let's talk about it in the comment section. I will join you as well, because the show is crazy. Please get down there. Tell me your favorite moments. Tell me the worst moments you thought. Tell me what your own opinions on what you feel with these animal parks and zoos and how you think that they work. These are people's backyards, once again. This is not something like the state zoo, which I also think is really sad when you go to city zoos and all that type of stuff. But tell me how you felt about Tiger King. And also, what other Netflix docuseries or shows would you like me to do reviews and rants on? Let me know downstairs in the comment section below. Thank you again for all the support you've shown me. My Rant Pack, you're the best people ever. And for those of you who are new, welcome, welcome, welcome. Don't forget to hit that like button, that share button, and the subscribe button. Remember, we have RuPaul's Drag Race coming out, episode 6 review, Snatch Game, this week. I'm looking very forward to that. And I'll have another video out that I'm going to surprise you with as well. Hugs and kisses, my best love and wishes to you. It's your boy, Matty Rants. Catch me on Instagram for a lot of live videos. I will see you soon. Bye-bye. Tiger King. I'm telling you, the Tiger King is just a crazy